And good evening, everybody.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And
frame 9, Robertson to break.
what an atmosphere once again here in the Crucible Theatre. It's just something special. Neil Robertson gets the first frame of 8 that will be played this evening in this second session. Let a 4-1 advantage slip. I don't know how that will have affected him, but just looked a little bit nervy. Both players featured in the first session, which I commentated on this morning. But that first session is always the tricky one, isn't it?
Absolutely. Very important for the players to settle. And what do we have in store this evening from these two great players?
Close, but because he's overhit it, he's left a nice easy starter for Neil. Only to drop this in dead weight. I mean, he hit it thick, so he's just overhit it. Just the start you'd hope for. First frame, get your hand on the table, get your cue arm going.
Eight. Nine. Sixteen.
Looks to have just the right angle on this red, just to stand up for the black.
17.
Well, he's come a little bit straight on it for playing a cannon into the cluster, so he may have to play for that red that's just to the left of the blue. Screw back off the side cushion. Now, depending on the potting angle on this red,
24.
if he could get on the blue, I'd suggest he would do, and then play a cannon. To play that with a lot of
25.
right-hand side, and cued that beautifully. Perfect angle on the blue. But this is a case that you really have to hit the pink dead on, because the pink's not touching the red. There's a little bit of a gap between the pink and the reds. Oh, Mr. Pink went through the gap on nothing.
Neil seemed to
30.
just get down and play that one a bit quick, John.
Yeah, well, as I say, I noticed in the first session, both players look very edgy. And you know what it's like, you're playing in these matches, you're looking for a place in the quarter-final, and you're frightened to make mistakes sometimes. Then you just lose the balance in the way you play. 1 minute you get aggressive, next minute you get a bit too tentative. And neither player really has found the balance in this match so far. I'm sure it will come. Average shot time. Pretty quick for both players.
Neil Robertson, 30.
Marco just came round to have a look to see if the plant was on, and it's not. And it's not a plant that can be made or reversed from there. There's too much distance between the two balls. So a good safety shot needed here.
Yeah, and he'd be tempted to hit this thin. He's going to watch the bump of the middle pocket here. Well, he caught it plenty thin, and the reason he had to play it thin because of that black near the top cushion. Anything thick and he could have run into that. So not the best safety.
Neil Robertson will be taking this on into the right corner. Slightly thick. And the reason why he played that with so much pace is because the red goes into the right black pocket. There's no way that he could play that and try to hold for the blue or perhaps even the yellow or brown, because he would have left a long red on. This red goes.
Where's the cue ball going? But the main thing was he missed the chance. And he's going to have to start taking these. He's normally so good at that type of shot, Marco. Didn't have to do anything with the cue ball, just pot the red.
Not only fortunate not to leave a shot, he's been fortunate to leave Neil Robertson in a difficult situation here. Just had to play the containing safety, which gives Marco Fu the advantage to try to get a good cue ball.
I'm just wondering, Peter, this red second left, if he could try and pot it in the middle with no risk. The only red, if the only red he could leave was the one he was playing, it'd be worth trying to drop it in. I know it's a very acute angle, but it'd be on the black. But it's only if you were absolutely perfect and you could play it with no risk.
Oh, that's a very good cue ball. Well played.
Yes. Poses a little problem here. This is Neil's view. No escape down the right hand side and no escape down the left hand side. So just playing the containing safety. Of course, with this black being over the corner pocket, this takes this pocket out of the equation, so any safety shot will be made that little bit easier. Now he's taking the chance going back to the ball. Ken needs to cover one of these reds, and he hasn't done. He's left this red on. Risky. And he could be punished for this if Neil can knock this red in. Similar type of red that Marco missed. But not Neil Robertson. Now he wants to be on the black.
One.
Can he get past the blue? Well, he can just about get past the blue, but to pot the black he may have to just bend it a bit, and then he'd struggle getting position on the next red. Or can he play it with pace and get out of the jaws of the pocket? He's just looking if he pots the green where he'd have to leave the cue ball. So that's all he could leave himself, a mid-range pot.
4.
You'd fancy him to get it, but it's missable.
Neil Robertson.
Well, why did he hit it so hard? I thought he'd have just stroked it in.
Again, I feel that he actually got down and played that quite quickly again. Earlier in the frame, he got down and played a blue into the centre very quickly and then didn't get the correct cannon on the pink. I just think Neil needs to settle himself down a little. But it's very rare, isn't it, John, that he misses a mid-distance red like that.
Yes, it was one of those just off straight. I suppose he was trying to leave himself straight on it. But when he didn't come absolutely dead straight, I thought he'd have played the run through and kept control of the shot. Well, surely this red doesn't pass the black, does it? Is there room for a ball past the black? That's tight.
If Neil Robertson was directly behind this red in a straight line, he could possibly play this. But being on an angle like this, it makes it all the more difficult. And there's a very good chance he'll get a double kiss here.
Exactly right. Now, does it go in the other side now? Neil's interested. Here's Marco. Always get some special VIPs, and there's one, Roy Keane, legend, and I'm not saying that because he played for Man United. One of the all-time greats. Just giving this a bit of thought. There's two reds at the balkan, you see. If he played one of them, then he'd leave the other one there. Not quite certain what he's got in mind here. He's played a double on the red. It wasn't a bad choice. It certainly wouldn't have been if it had gone in.
Neil may be attempting to knock a red into the centre here. And the red that possibly could have gone into the centre, cannon into the pink, but he played it very well. He played that as a shot to nothing, screwing back, getting a good cue ball.
Yeah, he's got a slight problem because he got such a good cue ball, as Peter mentioned. It's going to be very difficult for Marco to get the cue ball back to this top cushion, and you feel to get it really safe, that's what he's going to have to do. And there in the audience, happy birthday, 89 today. Jeffrey Lester's come along with his son and his grandson. That's his birthday treat, and he's got one of the best seats in the house. Happy birthday, sir.
Neil Robertson with the tactical advantage here at the moment. Marco's looking to see if he can possibly cannon the first red into the red which is at the top of the cluster of 4 there. Screw back to the black cushion, and the red that he's making contact with could possibly go in the left centre. Good effort.
But he's not got it safe. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of pressure on this pot. Neil Robertson, there you see it, wasn't far away. Well, he's not looking at the red near the baulk end. He feels if he gets this cue ball tight to the top cushion, he'll force Marco into a mistake. We'll see if he's right.
Marco's just gone into the baulk end just to see if he can take the red that he's closest to into the right centre and leave the cue ball in a position in the baulk end where he can see the black if the red goes in. Tough shot. He may not have too much of an alternative, but if he misses the red, he's certainly handing the initiative to Neil Robertson, even if he doesn't leave him an easy pot on. Changed his mind, looking to play safe. Red up and down, cue ball on the baulk rail. Played it well.
Yes, he couldn't play that any better. Well, he's having a look at the potting angle on this red. It's very thin, but if he pots it, he'll be on the black. He's taking it on. Would you believe that he overcut it? And he must have left something. It was one of those, wasn't it, Peter, that you play and you think, if I hit it as thin as I can, there's a chance I can pot it. To hit it that thin, it hardly moved.
Yes, as a player you're thinking this is almost impossible to overcut. And as things have worked out, it's Marco Fu that's forced the mistake where Neil Robertson held the advantage during that safety exchange, certainly for most of the way through it anyway.
8.
Big opportunity this now for Marco. He just managed to get a slight angle on the blue.
$14. $15.
Once again, looks to have come a little too straight on the blue.
20. One. $26. 27. $31.
Just 3 points behind, but it's not a straightforward run to the winning line in this frame,
32.
particularly with those two reds near the baulk cushion. He's going to have to contend with those, particularly playing low-valued colours as he's done off the last two reds. Just 1 point ahead.
35.
Still needs another 27 points. That means the 4 remaining reds with colours.
$36.
Well, once again, 2 straight on the blue. Longest frame of the match, this. There's a lot of tip-tap in the early part of it. Playing the yellow, just to make it easier to get on this red.
$38. $39.
Well, this is quite clever thinking, because the pink spot is held by the brown, the black spot's not available, so this pink, when potted, will go on the highest available, which is the brown spot. Well, he tried to disturb them. He'll be now thinking he should have maybe played to get on one, so that's going to be end of break. But he's got a lead, 11 points in front.
Mark of foot.
And if this
45.
runs, this is an excellent safety. Not quite.
This is the sort of red that Neil Robertson knocks in on a regular basis. Bit of pressure on this one though. Oh, he struck that beautifully. He's so incredibly consistent on that type of shot. And he's got enough angle on the black to get down for this last red. He's got plenty of cue power. He could probably play this as a hard stun shot with right hand side.
The only question I would ask Peter, is there any way you could get on this red that you'd want to play it? Pots the black, you go 3 points behind. I mean, maybe okay if you got close to red within a foot of it and a nice potting angle, you may go for it, but it's going to be hard to do that. So he'll be playing a safety shot now, and he doesn't want that cue ball too close to the cushion. He wants to dig down on this and leave the the white where the red is.
Do you think there was value in playing snooker there, John, and not taking the black or not?
Well, I think because he thought he could get close to the red. I know he wasn't
Robertson
nowhere near it, but I would say you're probably right now because that's a poor safety. So, yeah. But that's only after the event, isn't it?
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Oh, that's a beautiful shot from Marco. He's on the pink in the middle. It's not the best angle in the world. It's got some work to do with the cue ball. So it's an interesting choice of shot here for Marco. Could easily knock the yellow down the table and lay a snooker behind the pink.
Yeah, we know a lot of players would punch the pink into the middle, screw off the baulk cushion for the yellow, but he doesn't have that type of cue power. But surely he's got to go for the yellow. Well, he did, and play for the yellow when it was come back up and respotted, just a fraction out. I think he thought it was in for a second. Just caught the near bump. This is a lovely line. And it's a beautiful length. Advantage Robertson.
What an excellent shot that was from Neil Robertson there.
Foul. And a miss.
I think that will be going back.
Yeah.
Yes, it won't be too difficult for our referee, Jan Verhaas, to replace, as the pink was on the brown spot, green was on its own spot. It's just the cue ball that needs to go back in the right position. They've agreed that very quickly. Needs to hit it and get it safe. He's hit it. He's not got it safe. Chance for Neil Robertson to take the first frame of this evening's session.
And these are the margins, very, very fine margins at the highest level in snooker. Just a few moments ago, Marco Fu knocked in a lovely long red into the right hand black pocket, and if he finishes on a colour, he wins the frame. Finished awkwardly on the pink, decided to take a difficult yellow into the centre, missed it. Neil Robertson played a fantastic safety shot. Now the frame is his for the taking.
2.
Yes, and can't really see any great problems. Quick glance at the scoreboard, he's 4 points in front. So he's just looking for green, brown and blue.
5.
Still, sometimes it's very hard for players. He's 7 points in front. Pot the brown, that's 11 points in front. And pot the blue, and he'll be 16 points in front with just 13 remaining.
14.
So that was a frame that both players would have felt they could have won, but it's Neil Robertson who'll come out with the best thoughts. Marco Fu had a few chances there, but in the end it was Neil Robertson who takes the lead once again. This time it's 5-4.
As quiet as possible, please. Thank you. Keep the noise down, please.
Thank you, Marco. Frame 10. Marco foot to break.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know whether he played the cannon on the black, but he'll be pleased with the way it come. The only thing is, the potting angle on the black is just taking them away from the reds.
Eight.
Well, it begs the question, what is he on? He's playing safe. I mean, if he couldn't just drop the black in and get on a red, I'd have been trying to do something. Did he think he could hold it? There was a couple of reds, or at least two that would go. Just lost the cue ball completely. Good pot from Marco. Needs just to kiss a ball colour. He hasn't done.
One.
That was the archetypal shot for nothing. He got the pot on nothing.
Marco foot 1.
Nice touch, but with the balls the way they are, shouldn't be a problem here for Neil. Just come off the side cushion. We've seen it so many times. The only thing is you've got to be aware you don't slide. That's what he's looking for. Was he close to pink? Oh, that's a careless 6 points to give
Marco
away.
foot 6.
Well, Neil certainly made sure that he didn't leave the red closest to the black, didn't he?
Marco.
Yeah, and that is the problem. That's why he erred on the side of hitting the pink. Is it this a bit pacey? Is it this? Well, it just stopped in time. Nearly overhit it there and left a red to the corner.
Marco could try to get the cue ball behind the yellow here. He's played it with quite a lot of right hand side. That's a good shot.
Yeah, it's trying to force Neil to play safe down the right hand side because it's quite congested. I don't know, there's a gap between the green and pink, so he can get to the red on the left hand side of the table as we look. Obviously he can't, because that's what he would have played. It's a big ask to get this back to balk if that's what he's trying.
This needs to be really thin. Oh, that's a fantastic shot. That was so difficult. Duly acknowledged by Marco Fu. That really was a top-class safety shot from Neil Robertson there.
Couldn't agree more, Peter. They don't come better than that. Red's going towards the corner. Will it drop? Will it stay? It dropped.
1.
Hand up to apologise. Won't be too costly. Not from the pot, because he's not on a colour. But tight up behind the brown could force a mistake from
Marco
there.
foot 1.
And this time, we see the line again. That's the line you could go, but if you don't get it right, so he's not going to risk that. He's going to play this one near the top cushion. You've got to be careful with this. You don't run across it. You've got to hit it first.
Foul. And a miss. Marco Fu 4.
Well, he's left a red in the middle. It's not easy.
Yeah, and it's funny when you get that option to have them replaced. It tends you to think, do I need to risk this? Fair play to him, he's taking it on. Big shot, this. Oh, well! How did it drop in the end? Knocked 3 times. And knew the password. Look at that. It was coming out, it was going back in. It dropped.
Neil Robertson was certainly surprised that Marco took that on, because he was standing up
7.
still. He hadn't even had time to sit down before Marco played that shot. He expected Marco to put him straight back in again, so really gutsy shot to take on from Marco Fu there. Very, very tough.
8.
And having got this very tough opening red, well, we've seen so many of those this week already with that sort of pace, come in and out again from the pocket. But after taking on such a brave shot, he deserves everything he gets from this visit.
14.15.
And I must say, John, there's been a real difference in Marco Fu's approach over the last couple of
22.
seasons. I would say the Marco Fu of 3 or 4 years ago would be safety orientated and wouldn't have taken a red like that on.
23.
But perhaps the extra confidence of being a tournament winner this season, he's certainly changed his game. He's more attacking, he's more aggressive. He's certainly not reckless, but that was a very impressive shot to take on into the centre there.
Just slightly put his hand up there. This isn't the red he played to be on. He played to cannon
30.
those 3 reds and be on one of the others in left or right corner. But as it turns out, he's finished nicely on one of the 3 reds he'd run into. I think, in all honesty,
31.
Peter, I've had a few chats with Marco, not long conversations, but because of the talent he's got, he's wondering why he's not winning more, you know, and I think he needs belief to do that, and I think he's found that by just stepping up the pace and being a little bit more aggressive. If you have ability, and he certainly
37.
has, you've got to give it chance to come out. Sometimes you
38.
can play too much safety first and not give your ability a chance. He's done that in the last few seasons, as you say, and looks a lot better player for it. Having said that, he was a little bit edgy this morning when he went 4-1 behind. But he's got himself right back in the match and good chance to
44.
level again here.
$45.
55 ahead, 67 remaining.
51.
Quick glance at the scoreboard. Red in the colour needed. Because once he pops the red, there'll only be 59 remaining.
$52.
Could have played that better. Not quite soon, which I presume he played for the pink in the left corner. But he's finished a little bit twixt in between.
I think there's value in taking the pink on and playing it dead weight towards the left hand black pocket. If it goes in, it's a frame winner, and if it stays right over the pocket, he's not leaving anything on.
Looks to go 62 points in front with 59 remaining, and it's there. So it must have been a little bit of a scare from there with that poor positional shot.
58.
But scare over.
$59.
This has been a very impressive contribution from Marco Fu under the circumstances. He's overscrewed that, but it doesn't matter. He's won the frame. Took on a really gutsy red
64.
into the left centre at the start of this break, when Neil Robertson expected to be put back in. Great shot.
65.
Another terrific shot.
71. 72.
Well, there aren't many people that would have said a century was possible when Marco Fu came back to the table
70.
and decided to take that really difficult red into the left centre. But what a wonderful contribution this has been.
79.
And at such an important time as well, to level the match.
Yes, he's already made a century in this match. And that was his 450th competitive century.
82. $84. 87. 91. 96.
Played it beautifully on the pin for the 47th century of the tournament. Wonderful, wonderful. He played a red into the middle that not many would have played. And as Peter Ebden said at the time, he deserved everything he got for that. And he couldn't have got any more. He clears the table and he levels once again at 5 frames all.
Quietly, please. Thank you. Quietly, please.
Thank you. Frame 11. Neil Robertson to break.
Yeah, not a best break-off shot from Neil Robertson, but the Brown came to his rescue. And Marco a little bit harder, would have left something there. He'd go back to his seat, very relieved. Yes, it's still early days in this match. This is the second session of 3. At the moment, I just feel, Peter, if one of these players could just hit his top form, he might have a chance to just win 2 or 3 frames in a row. But then you know what snooker's like. If somebody starts to raise the game, then the other man goes with him.
I think it would be fair to say at this present moment in time, John, that there is such a healthy respect between the two players and for each other that they're just a little bit wary of each other at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that observation. You can't win it, particularly in the first session, but you can lose it. And as Stephen Hendry said in the studio this afternoon, and it's a good analogy, it's like moving day at golf, this second session. Can you take a decent lead going into the final session tomorrow? All to play for. Tentative look at a plant here.
Foul.
And hit the pink.
Marco through 6.
Well, that is remarkable. I mean, I know he's playing it well. That just shows you what we always say. He's played it with a lot of left-hand side, and he struck down. It's so hard. He's pushed into the pink. And Marco trying to force the cue ball across the table. He's missed and left the red just to the left of the black. A slight comedy of errors at the moment.
One.
And so it goes on.
Neil Robertson 1. Settle down, please. Thank you.
Now, Marco just went round to take a look to see if these two reds near the pink spots are a plant into the left centre. It must be quite close because he's taken another look to see what sort of distance there is between the two balls.
Well, welcome everybody to the red button. You just join us at quite an interesting time. Both players have made mistakes, but I thought Neil he had a chance of potting this red to the left middle. He's had second thoughts about it. If he could, he'd get automatic position on the referee. Jan Verhaas will be having a close look at this. It's there. Just prior to that, Marco Fu had a look at a possibility of a plant, didn't think it was on, and left that. So it's a bit careless to leave a pot on. And if Neil Robertson was 100% on his game, which I don't believe he is at the moment, I would fully expect him to win the frame at this visit. But both players at the moment have just got a miss in them, an unexpected one.
$14. $15. Yeah. 20.
Just he was walking round, he asked Jan Verhaas. Only saying today, Peter, 25 years now, Jan has been a referee, 22nd year here at the Crucible.
What a wonderful record. He's been one of the game's top referees for a long, long time now. And a lovely guy as well.
21.
Yes, and as you say, top referee. So there
28.
you go. Another 41 points needed to get to Snooker's required.
29.
It looks achievable. Just got to keep control of that cue ball though.
$34. $35.
So far,
42.
he's played these very well. Got nice control of the cue ball. Of course, when you're playing for the blue, sometimes a little bit of pressure on you to
43.
get the right side of it. But with those two reds in the other half of the table, it seems to make it a little bit easier to get the nice angle. Not a ball near a cushion.
48.
Be disappointed now if he doesn't win the frame at this visit.
$49.
It's funny, isn't it, when we were talking earlier, that if somebody raised the game, maybe that might trigger the other guy into
54.
action. And that seems to happen here. 109 from Marco in the last.
Yes, that's exactly what's
55.
happened. Both players have definitely gone up a gear. It was just looking a little bit nervy out there. Neither player had really settled. And that wonderful contribution from Marco Fu in the previous frame. was a timely reminder for Neil Robertson
60.
that a crucial juncture had arrived in this match, and he also needed to step up.
61.
He's responded admirably.
So there you see it, 62 ahead, 59 remaining.
67. $68.
There's the break.
75.
6 blues, 1 pink, 4 blacks.
Thanks. 76.
And he'd love to make the century here. He's had 2 so far in the tournament, and yesterday celebrated 500 competitive centuries. He's now at 501 because he's already made one in this match. In fact, the first frame of this match.
83.
Got to cue this well though. And did.
84.
It's a shame in many ways, John, that there's going to be an interval at the end of the next frame, because both players are settled and both players are playing fantastic snooker now.
$91.
As I say, he'll be really keen to make the century. It's like 2 performers on a stage. He doesn't want Marco to have all the limelight. Oh, but it's not to be.
91.
And he'd be a little bit disappointed. Okay, won the frame, and he won it in style, to be honest with you. Careless safety from Marco Fu left him half a chance. He took it and leads once again, 6-5.
Quietly, please.
Yes, the players just getting their
Thank you. Frame 13.
things together, wiping the cue down.
Robertson to break.
And it's Neil Robertson. 4 more frames to be played now in this session. Final session tomorrow afternoon. Can anyone get an advantage? Nice opening red, but
1.
I think we can see, Peter, from that type of shot that both players are a little bit tentative, because normally you play that with the confidence to stop short of the baulk line, and neither player seems to be doing that at the moment. Definitely playing it as a shot for nothing.
I think the big problem when you're playing Neil Robertson is that you know he's such an outstanding long potter. You don't want to leave him with an opportunity to get his hand on the table. That's an interesting choice of shot from Marco.
Marco Fu 1.
Yes, very aggressive. Opening the reds, but he's not got a good cue ball. He's left a chance of a pot. And if Neil can't get past the green to play safe down the right-hand side of the table, he's forced to take it on. Now, will he fully commit? No, not really. playing at that pace, to me, that was one of them shots where you think, well, if it doesn't go in, I might get away with it.
Well, there's a good chance of getting away with it, providing you don't overcut the red by that extent. For Neil Robertson, that was a long way away.
So that attacking safety shot from Marco, when he purposely ran the yellow into the cluster of reds to open up the game, it's worked to his advantage. He gets the first good chance.
Eight. Nine. Sixteen. Seventeen. $24.
There you see the sidebar, telling us he needs another 43 points at this visit to get to the snooker's required stage. I mean, normally you'd think, well, you'd probably get the yellow back up the table, but there's a red in that ball, Ken. I don't know if the yellow went on its spot, that red wouldn't be available.
25.
But now he's decided that he wants to get the yellow up the table. You can understand why. It just clears the path for the black. There's no obstacles
27.
getting on the black. Could have played this a little bit better, but don't expect a mistake.
28.
Played it nicely. Inch perfect.
$35. 36.
Straight on the black, so screw back off the side cushion for a red in the same pocket. Once again, inch perfect.
43. $44.
That time, just let the cue ball slide a few inches too far. Shouldn't be a problem. Play a little cannon here to hold the white. Okay, he'll settle for that.
51. $52.
Played that cannon very nicely there. That's the sort of shot that if you get a slightly too thick contact, the cue ball stays in the middle of the table. He would have
59.
been very well aware of that, playing that shot. Played it very nicely. Looked simple enough, but could easily have gone
60.
wrong. This is very impressive from Marco Fu here.
Yes, and it just shows you the advantage of playing that very attacking safety shot when
67.
he finished near the ball cushion. He stopped in his tracks because he's just overrun that slightly. But he's at the point where snookers are needed. He's 68 points in front, 67 remaining. You know, they overrun it or didn't hit it hard enough, whatever, he's come twixt in between. But nicely in, and that should mean that Neil Robertson won't have a chance to come back to the table. As I say, very clever shot from Marco when
72.
he run the red. It just shows you his intentions to keep the game open. And as you said, Peter, with such a good long potter as Neil Robertson, that was a brave shot to play. He's got the rewards.
Marco Fu, 72.
Well, unexpected miss. Neil Robertson looking at the scoreboard, 73 points behind, just 59 remaining, and he nods his concession. So Marco Fu, for the first time now in the match, he goes in front, 7-6.
Keep the noise down, please. Thank you.
Thank you. 14th frame. Marco Fu to break.
Marco gets frame 14 underway. And of course, when he won the Scottish Open, what a tremendous victory that was against John Higgins. Beat him quite comfortably.
And as we all know, John Higgins, one of the greatest match players of all time, with one of the greatest techniques of all time. So smooth, so still, such incredibly difficult to do under pressure. There is no better example of that long and smooth and still technique than John Higgins, and that really was a magnificent win for Marco Fu to beat him in the final. A player of his experience and class, tremendous.
It's careless if he kisses the yellow. That's careless. It's always risky to leave Neil Robertson a long pot on. He's got a choice, one to the right corner, one to the left corner. He's usually very good at these, but he's just been off the mark. Last couple of long shots. But not that one. Solid. Cue ball needs to slow up. He's okay. Just a thumbs up there. Marco didn't have a chance to go back to his seat. As we've said many times, there's not a lot of room around the table as we watch this long pot again. His heart must have been in his mouth when that cue ball was travelling towards the middle. And he just stopped and said to Marco, do you want to go back to your seat?
6.
You just feel that Neil needs to make the most of this opportunity.
7.
You saw the problem there. If he hits the red in the middle of the pocket, he wouldn't have got into the jaws. He'd have been perfect on the black, but the red went in on the right hand side and the cue ball nearly followed it in.
Go on in.
Considering that was an excellent pot. When it should have been an easy black
14.
and it was a tough one, he played it well.
15.
Wrong side of the blue, so a little bit of work to do now with the cue ball to get nice position on the next red. Try and get somewhere near the circle. The blue's gonna spoil this. He needed to be near the circle, not near the blue.
20.
Looking accusingly at the cushion. I'll tell you what you did, Neil. You got too much side on it and too much backspin. You saw the way the cue ball reacted. He got into it too much. He's not completely snookered, but he can't pot anything. He's going to have to wait for another chance.
Neil Robertson, 20.
Good safety. He'd have been very disappointed, but Marco getting down very quickly. Thinks he can play the pot here and go round the back of the black. Well, he got round the back of the black. And a pretty good cue ball. Kiss on the green, never going to make it a good safety.
Really important frame this for both players, who just get the sense, the feeling that a bit of tension has just crept back into the game, where they were both really settled before the mid-session interval and both playing very well. I think the importance of this frame has affected both players. Tension has just ramped up a notch once again.
Just looking to see if he can get past the blue to it, the left-hand side of the red, but I don't think he can. Well, played it up and down. Safe enough. Doesn't give him any advantage though.
Well, obviously I don't know if Neil Robertson is going to play this shot, but there's quite a lot of value providing he can miss the double kiss in sending the red up and down the table, and the cue ball possibly behind the green. He'll cut the escape off down the left hand side of the table, and that's what he's tried. It's pretty good.
Yes, and even if Marco can just get past the blue to play the red on the left hand side of the table, he'd have to hit it very thin. Well, he can get past the blue, but boy, you got to hit it so thin. Well, in the end, he thought it was too thin, but could hit enough of it to play the containing safety. Glad to have an escape route there.
There is a red into the right centre that Neil can take on here. It's quite thin. He could play it as a shot to nothing, but to do that he'd have to raise the butt of the cue and almost play it as a soft stun shot to miss the knuckle on the left hand side of the table in the middle pocket, and he would be on the green if he got it. He's just playing it with topspin and decided against it, wants to keep it tight, and you can't blame him for that because he knew that he would be restricting Marco to only being able to play down the right hand side of the table. Red to the centre was very risky, but the green was waiting for him. Had he taken it on? This is a really tough pot if Marco's taking this on. This is dead straight. It requires perfect cueing. Oh, that was close. That was really tough. So the good safety shot from Neil Robertson has created an opportunity. That was so tough, John. You wouldn't get many of those out of 10.
Yeah, I think you only play it if you're forced into it, which Marco was because of that safety from Neil.
1.
So it just shows you how important the safety side of it is, and shot selection. And he's given himself a great opportunity now, Neil, by forcing Marco into that mistake. But he still needs to take it.
Eight.
It's such a fine line, John, isn't it? At this top level, you're always looking for the shot to nothing if you can, especially if you can play it with a degree of safety. But as you quite rightly pointed out there, and as Neil Robertson proved, if you can play a top-class safety shot and put your opponent under pressure, sometimes that's the best way to create an opportunity.
Yes, it's always been the way, but with the modern players, they see one opportunity and they think of winning the frame in one hit. Played that nicely. I'm not certain where the pink's going to go. Well, the pink spot's occupied, so it goes on the highest available, which is the green spot.
15.
But he's still got the blue and the black available into both corners.
Shit. 16.
And this is just the sort of gripping and
21.
tense encounter that the Crucible crowds love.
22.
Both players playing very well. Both players showing signs of tension too. Both players showing healthy respect for each other. All the makings of a top-class match. And an enthralling one too. Absolutely fascinating stuff between these two world-class exponents of our beautiful game.
27. 28. 35.
There you see it, just another 13 points needed. Now 2 reds, 2 blacks would be enough, but if he's going for the blue,
36.
once again he's failed to get the right side of the blue. He's making this hard for himself here. Red and a black would put him 69 points
41.
ahead with 67 remaining. And that's not the first one he's missed, just off straight.
Neil Robertson.
If it was
41.
straight, it was unmissable for him. But once again, just off straight, he's just not finding the middle of the cue ball. That's all I can think.
No, you're absolutely correct there, John. He's playing this with a touch of left-hand side. And that's why the red is going thick. He's missed that a few times this evening. So, just needs a slight adjustment.
But was fortunate. Normally when you miss, when you're in, it can be very costly. But he didn't leave anything. But he needs another chance. He's had one. Well, he gets it.
We all know how straight Neil Robertson gets through the ball, but I'm just wondering, John, I'm wondering if that particular shot is one of the rare shots, because Neil is so strongly right eye sighted, that may be one of the rare shots where he thinks he's hitting the middle of the cue ball, but maybe he's cueing with a touch of left.
Could well be, but he'll forget about it now. Because, well, just the yellow and one more red, and this frame will be in the bag and we'll have parity again. But he didn't do it in one visit. There you see, 64 ahead, 67 remaining. Roll this red and go 65 ahead with just 59 left.
4.
Straight in the heart of the pocket. Well, there's one thing for certain, Peter. We've got a match on here.
Give me a second, please, Neil.
Absolutely, John, and a cracking one at that.
Just to explain, as we always say, if the ball can't go in its spot, no other spot's available, goes as close to its own spot as it can in a direct
7.
line with the top cushion.
8. $15. 16. 23. 24.
'Leaving himself the double on the red.
31.
Not there, but it doesn't
51
matter.
on the
The
frame.
frame was over
Neil Robertson.
truly long ago. He needed 2 chances, Neil Robertson, but fortunately when he missed, he didn't leave anything. And we're level again, 7-all.
Quietly, please. Thank you.
Thanks. Frame 15. Neil Robertson to go.
I think you can get through to the red on the left-hand side of the table to play a pot, but it's risky because the red just above the black would be available to the other corner, so playing the safety. Gotta catch this just right, don't want to catch this too thick. It's a little bit pacey. Left a pot on. I think there's a couple of reds here available to the left corner.
Well, are we going to see a Neil Robertson special here? And that's pretty good. Very good.
1.
He's not on a great angle on the yellow. Excellent long pot. Beautifully struck. Perhaps just off straight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a wonderful shot. That really is a wonderful shot. Well played.
Yeah, cued it beautifully.
3.
But he'd have liked that cue ball to have run on another 3 or 4 inches. If it had have been, he'd have been able to roll this red in and get on the black without having to do anything with the cue ball. The potting angle, that's not the case. Got to play a delicate positional shot here. It needs due care and attention. It's okay.
4.
Played it well. Not quite certain what he's on here.
11.
Okay, he's got the red on the left-hand side of the table, but does he play it in the left middle or the far left corner? I don't think this is what he was looking for.
Oh, I can only assume there, John, that with the kick that he got on the black affecting the angle, I can only assume that he played for the red into the right centre. You see the black jump there, took all the pace out of the cue ball and changed the angle that the cue ball came off the cushion. He's missed that by quite some way.
Neil Robertson, 11.
Probably disappointed, and he let it affect his next shot. It's easy done.
Well, I'll be very surprised if Marco doesn't take this red into the green pocket. Well played. Well played.
Yeah, never
One.
easy those. Playing into a slightly blind pocket. But he's not been short on aggression this evening, Marco. When he's had to fully commit, he has. Went into them. Felt it was worth the risk. Is he on anything?
4.
And you must say, John, that he's been mightily unlucky there, because he was going into that side of the pack knowing that there was an excellent chance of him finishing on the red to the right of the pack that he now can't quite see. So very, very unfortunate. Played it well.
Yeah, sometimes you can only play the right shot. He did that, and as you say, unlucky. Given this lots of thought, you would think it's simple to get near the baulk cushion,
Marco full.
but he's not got it tight to the baulk cushion. Okay, he may not have left a pot that will tempt Neil. But when you're not tight to the baulk cushion, it makes it a lot easier to get that cue ball back to the baulk end. Then you can dig down and widen the angle. The red on the left hand side of the table, not certain he could pot that, so he's changed his mind.
I think this is the right shot, John. He can play this with drag and lots of left hand side, and that's how he played it, and that's a wonderful shot.
1.
Deserved to be on a colour there, to be perfectly honest. He played that really well. Table not playing as quick this evening as we've seen perhaps earlier in the tournament, for whatever reason.
Now do you try and roll up to the yellow? It's always a bit risky, because if you don't get it,
Robertson 1.
you're going to leave a red on, and he's looking as though the cue ball may have drifted up there slightly, hit the yellow full in the face. But that can happen near the baulk line. Well, Marco didn't take advantage of it. Although, no harm done at first luck. Well, is there a red in the middle that goes? No, not quite. Needs a good cue ball. Hasn't got one.
That was actually quite interesting there, John, because when Neil tried to play the snooker behind the yellow, if the cue ball is going to roll off, normally it goes the other way. But it would be fairly safe to assume that Marco has made a terrible mistake there. Didn't see that one coming.
One.
And that's the thing, isn't it? At this level, it can be just one shot.
Yeah, and as I say, I commentated on the first session of this match, and I'll point an accusing finger at both players. I just don't think they've got the balance. 1 minute they're taking the time and trying to
7.
be ultra careful, and then next minute they seem to want to lash out at one.
8.
Half a chance. Oh, jump on that one. And that was, as you say, I presume it was an attempt at a pot, but it was a very dangerous shot to go for Marco. Considering he had an easy enough safety. You don't go for pots if you don't think you can get it safe
14.
should you miss. Not from that distance. Anyway, here's another chance for Neil.
15.
This is it. As I say, you thought it was a safety, but I think he's played the pot. But playing the pot, he's going to run into the black.
I think Marco felt that he could play that as a shot to nothing, but because he hit it so thick, he cannoned into
21.
other balls, and this is the result of that misjudgment.
22.
And he's thrown a lifeline, to be perfectly honest, to Neil Robertson, because Neil Robertson's been under a lot of pressure this evening. But you can't keep giving chances like this to somebody like Neil Robertson, because he will grow in confidence.
28.
24 points needed from this situation to get to the snooker's required stage. Yeah, in the first part of the morning session, the first session today, when Neil led 4-1, when Marco was coming back at him, you felt that Marco would have been happy with the 4 apiece. Whereas this evening,
29.
I would think Neil would be happy being all square at this particular moment, and a great chance here to go 1 frame in front and making the last frame of this session massive.
And you can tell
35.
very subtle shift in Neil Robertson's body language. He's beginning to look more assured than he did earlier. There you see the pot success percentages, 89% for Marco
36.
Fu, 91% for Neil Robertson.
Now about that. Balls potted, 220 apiece. Some shake of the head. Thing is about this type of shot, without any problem in practice, you play this with a lot of right hand side. You pot the black, check it off the cushion, but he's frightened to use the side. Just about got enough on, just to check it slightly.
The problem with that shot on these superfine cloths is the check doesn't really check, it slides.
Gonna watch this cue ball here.
$44.
He'll settle for that. That is a result. This black will put him 59 points in front with 59 remaining. He only needs 1 more red to clinch the frame. And he's played that pretty well. Okay, it's a tested little red here.
51.
He's got to fully commit the red to 60 points in front with 51 remaining.
52.
And he did fully commit, played it at such a pace that even if it caught the jaw, it would drop. And that pink means no way back to the table now for Marco.
58.
And it really is that finer line. Just a slight misjudgment on a shot to nothing from Marco Fu.
58 in the frame.
Gave Neil Robertson this
Neil Robertson.
opportunity. And Neil Robertson regains the lead at 8 frames to 7. What a fascinating match.
Quietly, please.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Final frame of the session. Marco Fu to break. Sorry.
So Marco gets the final frame of this little session underway, and the big frame it is. And just before he broke off, we'll show you after Neil has played this safety. Marco was getting down to break off and noticed the blue wasn't on its spot. Careless Jan. Bit pacey this, red going towards the corner. Will the yellow come to his rescue? Not quite. I think there is a path through to this red. And this is one of these long straight pots that, well, I don't think there's many better in the world at the shot than Neil Robertson.
I can think of another player that would probably be able to take this on and screw back for the blue if he wanted to.
I've got him.
Sean Murphy.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And of course, all the top players when they're on the game, they're capable of this, but he's got to put plenty of action into this. Ooh, and he just hit across it slightly. I know it was tough, but it's one you can normally depend on Neil to get. Obviously at that pace you've got to be so much more accurate.
For how much of that red he could see, he will be absolutely shocked that he managed to overcut that red.
So, big frame this for Marco Fu, and he gets the first real chance. He's perfect on the blue. If he can take this chance, he'll go into tomorrow afternoon's final session, all square. Which goes without saying is a lot better than being two behind.
Six. Seven.
Back for the blue and just about got the right angle. There you see, just the right side of the blue line. He's overdone that.
12.
Fortunately for Marco, even though he's hampered, he doesn't have to do a lot with the cue ball to get positioned on pink.
13.
He'd like to have had that cue ball bounce off the cushion another 6 inches. This is a tricky pink to the middle now. Bit of pressure on this. Solid. Terrific shot. And if he's got the angle on this red just above the
90.
black to get position on the black, and he has,
20.
what a chance this is now. Getting the black into play was imperative. Just looking to see if the red just to the left of the black will go in the same pocket as he's potting the black. Looks tight. But he was playing for a choice of two reds there. One to the left corner, one to the right corner. Does this red go?
57.
I'd want to be right behind it if I was going to play it. But as I say, he's got the one to the left corner, and the black is available to the opposite corner.
$28.
Now, as we come to the end of this second session, there's the pot success. Nothing to choose between them, 90% each. That's okay. Long pot success, 58% each. That's just a little bit lower than I like that 2/3 percentage of about 66%. Table time, look at that, 50% each. And the average shot time, 22 seconds per shot. And the only thing where Neil is slightly in front is on the safety. He's just 1% up.
35.
And total points, Marco just 7 points behind, but after a red and a black, he'll go 1 point in front. Oh, he's overcut. Oh, it dropped.
36.
Thought he'd missed it. So did Neil. I think Marco did as well. He was just slightly hampered. Might have just took his eye off the ball, but fortunately it dropped. But I know it's coming from the other side of the wall. That's one of the problems with the Crucible Theatre. You've got to remain focused. Marco, of course, is experienced in this arena. There you see it, just a thin
43.
wall dividing the two tables.
Keep your eyes down, please.
44.
Big moments for Marco Fu here. You just feel one more good positional shot. Only needs 24 points from this situation to get past the winning line in the frame. And he looks to have played that once again, inch perfect.
49.
Well, John, we've already had one Crucible Classic this year with a match between John Higgins and Mark Allen. This looks as if it could turn into another one.
Thank you, frame 16. Final frame of the session. Are you open?
50.
He's played a bad shot there. He never got any action on the cue ball whatsoever. That is amazing. He needed to hit that cue ball a little bit lower to get a little bit of backspin, a little bit of movement. Great chance. He'll do well to keep it going now. Okay, he can pot the pink, but he's going away from the reds. In goes the pink. Can he miss the yellow? Doesn't miss the yellow.
56.
56 points the lead, but there's still 83 remaining. What a great chance he had. And now it looks as though he may have to play safe. There's one pot on, but surely too risky.
It's very thin. Didn't play the pot there.
Marco Fu, 56.
It's an okay cue ball, but possibly not good enough.
Well, this will really hurt Marco should he lose this frame. When he had it, at his mercy. Needs to miss the green, and it didn't. Not saying he's left anything on that Marco will go for, but cue ball on the baulk line certainly makes his safety that much more easier.
Marco has the opportunity here to clip the red thin, which is to the right of the blue, off the side cushion, onto the black cushion, and hopefully get a good cue ball. Possibly behind the green. He'll be looking to put a red safe. That's a shot that he can play. He's hit it too thin. Far too thin.
Ooh, and kissing the yellow. Well, the only saving grace you could say for Marco is that he's not the yellow near the baulk cushion, but that won't bother Neil Robertson at the moment. He's got a 56-point deficit to cope with, but he's got a chance of this red. Now this type of red, just off straight, he's been hit into the right hand jaw. The one below the blue still goes to the right corner, more of an open pocket. Needs to get this to have a chance in this frame. And once again sent it over to the right. Where's the red ball going? Over the pocket. How many type of shots like this, when he's just off straight, he just keeps hitting him to the right jaw every time. Well,
Settle down, please.
well, okay, it was thin, but he knew it was thin. Should have just made certain of the pot, trust to luck with position. Neil's got a little bit to do with the cue ball here. This isn't straightforward to get on the black. Played it well, but the cue ball has stuck to the side rail. Next shot, very difficult, and he knows, should he miss the black, almost certainly will lose the frame. Just looking to see if he can play the black and avoid running into the red. It doesn't look likely. And if he can't, maybe there is value in just rolling up, playing the yellow, bring the yellow into play, and wait for another chance.
Yellow ball, thank you.
That's the decision. Needs to hit this yellow full though, and keep that cue ball near the baulk cushion.
Neil Robertson, 1.
I feel that was a very good call, John. I don't think there were many players that would have refused that black. We'll know shortly if it proves to be the right decision. Clever thinking there from Neil Robertson, under pressure.
I'm not quite certain he went for the pot there, because if he'd have hit it as thick as he needed to pot the red, it certainly ran into the black. I think he deliberately overcut it. Another roll or two, it'd have been a snooker. But Neil can just get through to this red, just below the blue. Neil was having a look at the two reds just above the black. They look as though they may be a plant to the corner, so at all costs, and there they are. I'm sure that can be made, so he can't get through to them, so he can't play the plant. But he's got to get the cue ball over to the right hand side of the table. And that's not a guarantee.
There's also danger if he takes this pot on into the right hand black pocket as a soft screw shot to hold for the black, because there may also be a plant into the centre pocket.
Well, he got a kick.
Horrendous kick.
Well, in all honesty, it deserves to drop. He's not on a colour, but that would have been very unlucky to get a bad contact like that and the red to stay in the pocket.
It'd be interesting to see if they are a plant into the right centre, because if that is a plant, well, you've got a plant into the right centre and the other red goes. That was a really dangerous shot to take on, because if he'd have missed that, that plant was on.
Anywhere in the circle he's settled for.
Neil Robertson won.
Didn't quite make it, but at least he's blocked the plant to the right corner. And the one to the middle, it always a bit more difficult to the middle, because he's only, well, quite an acute angle, and I don't think it was quite there. Although the balls are close together, he may have been able to make it. The one to the corner, I think he's practically unmissable, but Marco can't get through to it. He's played that well. Well, I say he's played it well. If that cue ball keeps running, that plant to the right corner may be on for Neil. If the reds are close together, if you hit the first one on the right hand side, it pushes the second one to the left. He can't help but hit the first one on the right hand side, so for me, this plant is definitely on. They're close enough for it to be turned. Let's put it this way, I wouldn't like to leave it for my opponent. I know it's risky, and he's not certain to be on a colour, but the plant is definitely on.
Depending on what pace Neil plays this at, there is a slim chance that the cue ball could actually go on to hit the red, which is closest to the black, and he could actually go off into the corner here, off that red, depending on the pace that he plays this shot.
Well, I suggest he plays it and fully commits. But it's big moments, and it's easy for us in the commentary box to give our opinions. But he's got to make the decision. And you stand or fall by them.
I think if he plays it with pace, John, the cue ball will arc off the initial red, and he could miss the red completely, which is closest to the black. But if he doesn't play it at much pace, he could hit that red and could go off.
Thank you.
Wow. How did that not go in? Well, I must admit, I thought it was the right shot. He's left this red. This red will go to the corner, but the one over the corner, Marco can't get through to. So it's not an easy leave here.
And to be perfectly honest, Neil Robertson has got away with that, because this straightish red is horrible. Digging down, trying to screw back for the black. It's so easy to miss this. You'd probably miss this at least 4 or 5 times out of 10. And that is brilliant. That is fantastic and wonderful cue. Well played, Marco Fu.
And that deserves to win any frame. Peter described the difficulty, but in it went. And I don't blame Neil for playing that plant. I thought it was on. And now Marco is already at the point where Neil needs a snooker.
8.
On what I've seen, and I've commentated on both these sessions, I think 8 apiece is about a fair score. Although
9.
sometimes what's fair and what's not fair is in the lap of the gods. But Marco and Neil will look back on chances they've had and not taken. But as I say, from my point of view as a neutral,
40.
I think 8 apiece just about sums up what's happened today. And as we said, Peter, on a few occasions about the pressure, it's going to be double that tomorrow in the final session.
Absolutely. Absolutely cracking match to look forward to tomorrow. Both players playing well. Both players have felt the pressure at times, which is great to see because it proves that they're human as well.
21.
We're so used to them playing such incredible snooker, an amazing
22.
standard. It's nice to know that they are human and can make mistakes as well.
$27. 28. $32. 34. 37.
These matches are made up of 3 sessions.
41.
First 2 sessions, 8 frames apiece, which is why we've got to the 16th frame now. And there'll be a possible 9 tomorrow. It wouldn't surprise
46.
me if they were all played. That's how close this match could be. Doesn't matter about the pink. And Neil Robertson will shake Marco's hand and say, I'll see you tomorrow. And that's the date they will have tomorrow afternoon. They will be back to play the final session. What a match we may have in store. It's toed and froed. And at the moment, there's nothing can separate Marco Fu and Neil Robertson.